Okay, we're going to do a quick problem on constructing and interpreting confidence interval for t interval to u interval, and how you know the difference between if the question is asking for a t interval to u interval versus a p to z interval. Notice the wording of the question. If it's asking for true mean, notice true mean right here. That means it's going to be t to u interval. If it says proportion, that's going to be p to z interval. So this is going to be t to u interval. Okay, so the question is, Arby's says their mean in sales for roast beef. Let me change that spelling real quick. Arby's says their mean in sales for roast beef is $60. The manager tests the claim by randomly selecting 10 different Arby's locations and asks them to record their sales of roast beef. Here are the results. We have 21, 20, 16, 14, 22, 24, 32, 38, 55, and 48. Okay. So we got the numbers. Part A, construct and interpret 90% confidence interval for the true mean sales of roast beef. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is to do our checks. First check we need to do is to make sure it is one sample t interval for u, and it is just one sample. And then the second one is if it's a random sample, and it is because looking at the question, randomly selected. So I'll let you know it's a random sample of 10 different Arby's locations. Okay, so check. Okay, then our next check is to see if it is a normal or large sample. To determine that, let's see, I'm going to write this out. Okay, to determine if it's a normal or large sample, you're going to form a dot plot to determine if there's any outliers or strong skewness. So we'll get a line going. So let's see, our lowest was 14, so we'll just do 10 right here. And then our highest was 55, so we'll do 60. And then 50 right here, 40, 30, and 20. Okay. Okay. So you'll just put our dots. So we have 14, so that would go right here. 16, go right there. Let's see. Next highest is 20, so that'll go right there. 21, 22, 24, 32, 38, 48, and then 55. Okay. So you have a few high numbers, but not too much. That's just a little bit. So no skewness. So it's a small sample. So check. Okay. Now we did our checks. We'll go ahead and scroll down here. So let's determine, so our formula for t to u, t interval to u interval, is x hat plus or minus critical t value, open parentheses, then square root of n. Okay. Now, how to find x hat? What you're going to do is you're going to add up the numbers that were given to you. So these numbers, let's see. Okay, so these numbers given to you right here, you're going to add those together and divide by the sample size. So the sample size was 10. So we have 10 numbers right here. So you add those together and you'll end up dividing it by 10. Once you add those numbers up and divide it by 10, you'll end up with 29. So that is going to be our x hat. Okay, now to find Sx, what you're going to do, you're going to look for Sx in your calculator. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit the stat button, then hit edit, hit enter on edit, and then in L1, enter in the data that was given to you in L1. So those 10 numbers that were given to you, enter those in L1. Then go to stat, and then hit the right arrow to the calc column, and do 1 dash variable stats, hit enter. Hit enter, hit enter, hit enter. And then it'll show you all the 1 variable stats for that column. So you notice Sx, it is 13.9. So that's how you find Sx. And tomorrow on the test, if you need help with that, I will show you how to do that. So Sx was 13.9. Okay. Then n is the sample size. So n, remember, we have 10 numbers that was given to us, 10 different Arby's locations. So that's the sample size. Now, let's see. DF, with a 90% confidence, DF is going to be 10 minus 1. The reason why we have to do 10 minus 1, to look for the critical t value, you have to do whatever the sample size is minus 1. So DF equals 10 minus 1, which is 9. Okay, so now what you're going to do to look for the critical t value, because it's at 90%, look at your charts and go up to where DF, see on the left side of your chart is DF, go to 9 and go across to where it's 90%. And when you go all across to 90%, the t critical value is 1.833. Okay, so we got all our values. So now we can just plug those in. So we have x hat. X hat is 29. Plus or minus. The t critical value is 1.833. Okay, we'll get our parentheses going. Sx is 13.9. Square root of n is 10. Okay, so like in the other video with the p interval to the z interval, do this part in your calculator first, because if you do it all at once, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, so when you put that in your calculator, you will get 8.057. So you're going to get two answers for this because you're doing plus and minus. So let's do 29 plus 8.057 first. When you do that, you're going to get 37.058. All right, now we'll do 29 minus 8.057. You're going to get 20.943. Okay, and this is your final answer. Okay, so that is how you solve for critical t intervals to u interval. And I hope this was helpful.